Welcome to An Apple a Day, a podcast, a resource, a community. Share your experiences and learn from others as we overcome barriers and learn to live a happy, healthy life with a disability. Welcome to the community. Here's your host, Jimmy Apple.
Welcome to another episode of An Apple a Day. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. Hey, how you feeling today, my friends? You feeling good? You feeling strong? You feeling better than you did yesterday? Excellent. You can't ask for better than that. We have got a good one for you today. And I have to tell you, this is like a weird fruit salad. Because think about this. You're on the podcast, An Apple a Day. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. Our guests today are Brie and Music Man Neil. Now, we're on the Vegan Possibility episode. And Erin Fernandez is going to be your host. So think of it like this. Erin Fernandez is the host of Vegan Possibility. So she's like a restaurant owner. Neil Kaplan is the music man. So he's the music entertainment. Then you have An Apple a Day, Jimmy Apple, and Brie. So it's like a weird fruit salad being served at Erin's restaurant with music in the background. I know it sounds stupid. I guess maybe... I don't know, too much coffee maybe. I don't know. But Brie and Neil, these are two phenomenal people. Very, very, very nice people. Brie is an administrator on Erin's page, that Vegan Disabled Gal. Now you can reach Brie and Erin at famousapple.com/that Vegan Disabled Gal. Erin's created the page. She's an administrator, and Brie Best, she's an administrator on Erin's page. So you can reach them over there. And Neil Kaplan, well, I have to tell you, he's a talented musician. And you're going to hear one of his songs at the end of this podcast. And for the next few weeks, he's going to be closing out the Vegan Possibility podcast with original music. He's letting us play it, and I'm thankful to him for it. His songs are really, really good, whether you're a vegan or not. They're vegan songs. They're songs about the vegan lifestyle. But, believe me not being a vegan, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, but me not being a vegan, I enjoy these songs. I've listened to them, and I've listened to them over and over. He's got a nice catalog of music. Plus, he plays in a band that's not a vegan band. He plays shows and weddings and bar mitzvahs and all this other stuff in South Florida. But he's a talented musician. You wait until the end of this podcast and you hear him. You're going to be so impressed. So impressed. But I wanted to talk for a second real quick. I've been asked now several times, why do I say on this podcast that I'm not a vegan? Simply because I'm not a vegan. Now, if this podcast was airing an episode about, Black Lives Matter, I'd be saying, well, I'm not black. If we were airing an episode about Chinese history, I'd be saying I'm not Chinese. If we were airing an episode about anything that I'm not, I'd be saying I'm not. This way, I'm not acting like I'm something that I'm not. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to learn. But I'm just letting you know off the bat that I'm not. And if I make comments, I'm not trying to be a smartass or anything like that. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to find out information about the topic that's being discussed. That's why Erin hosts the Vegan Possibility. She's a vegan. She's a full-fledged vegan. She lives the vegan lifestyle. I don't. So how could I host that program? I come in at spots and ask questions, but I can't host the program. Erin knows what she's talking about. I don't. Not when it comes to being a vegan. And I like to listen. And I do like to dispel the rumors that people have about vegans, and also the rumors that vegans have heard about non-vegans. So I play like the devil's advocate, I guess. So that's why I make sure people know I am not a vegan. But anyway, I want you to hear this about Brie. Now, mind you, I didn't give her that name. She told me that was her name. So Brie and Music Man Neil, I want you to hear their bios before I switch over to Erin. So sit back and listen for a second.
Just call her Banana Brie, 'cause bananas are like the icing on the vegan cake to her. She proclaims, "You gotta eat bananas with your meals," no joke. In fact, Brie loves all fresh produce and incorporates them in every meal as well as homemade smoothies. She does not enjoy cooking, so a stove is her nemesis. If it can't be cooked in the microwave or the toaster oven, then she won't even buy it. Going from vegetarian to vegan, just a few years ago, has created an everlasting place in her heart for all animals. Initially, becoming vegetarian was easy for her, as she could still consume dairy. But, with Neil's coaching, she finally took her blinders off, since dairy production is actually more brutal and abusive to innocent animals than meat itself. Neil was her biggest inspiration to upgrading to veganism. She is so glad to have finally become aware and always wants to pay it forward. Like many vegans, though, she is surrounded by non-vegans and vegan curious with her family and colleagues. So planting seeds, with encouragement and easy meal ideas, is what she strives to do.
Okay, that was a little bit about Brie Best. And next we have a little bit about Neil Kaplan.
Neil knew from a young age that his future was in music. Early performances with his childhood garage band, high school jazz bands, and college music degrees led to a successful career as a professional musician, entertainer, entertainment contractor, and eventual director of the Horizons bands, who perform at local corporate and social events in South Florida. About 30 years ago, the light bulb was switched on. Meat consumption was bad. A friend gave him a copy of John Robbins' Diet for a New America, and reading that book was the turning point. A year or two as vegetarian included a gradual awakening to the rest of the story and his becoming fully vegan. Neil started writing songs at about age 11. Although songwriting has never come easy, he currently has about 30 originals recorded, including many animal rights and vegan advocacy songs. He welcomes any opportunity to speak with people about their diet and lifestyle choices. When Neil and Brie met, she was ready to become fully vegan. She just didn't know it yet, and Neil is so glad to have helped get her there. He's doing what he can to help make this a vegan, and therefore kinder, world.
You're going to love this interview, believe me. But I want to remind you, we are not lawyers, doctors, or nutritionalists. Before you make any kind of lifestyle or dietary changes, please consult with your doctor, okay? Make sure that you're safe. Be safe whatever you do, all right? So sit back, relax, and I'm going to turn everything over to Erin. So I'll be in the background listening. Have a good time. These people are very, very nice. Okay, we're here with Erin Fernandez. Hello, Erin. How are you today?
Hi there. How you doing? Very good, thank you.
And we also have Brie, or as she's better known on my phone as Banana Brie.
Yes.
And Neil. So hello,
You're
Brie.
right.
Hello, Neil.
Hello, Jim.
How you guys doing today?
Hi. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Erin. Nice to meet you over the phone, and thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Are you surviving the rain?
You're so welcome.
You guys surviving the rain and the thunder?
Oh, yeah, a little bit crazy here, so.
If you do hear a big boom, it's just warning you, it's pouring out there right now. We're in South Florida, and it is just going nuts.
Well, you did say you were sitting in the bathroom also, so if we hear a big boom, I'm going to be questioning it.
All right. I'm sorry I mentioned it.
Okay.
Okay, Erin?
Now, on that note,
Erin, take it away. It's all yours.
and thank you again so much, guys, for being here today. And just tell us a little bit about your vegan story.
I guess I'll go first because
Yeah.
I sort of brought Brie into it.
Yes.
My gosh, this goes. I'm a musician, as we've probably figured out by now. Years ago, I took a self-improvement class where I met somebody who introduced me to the idea of being, at the time, vegetarian. She gave me a book called Diet for a New America, which was written by John Robbins, who is the heir to the Baskin-Robbins fortune and decided to completely go against all his father's money and stand up for a compassionate lifestyle and so forth. Read that book. Nothing was the same after I read that book, but it still took a while for me to get there 100%. Now, we didn't have at the time, this is many years ago, we didn't have Facebook and all the information that we have available to us now about why being vegan is such an important thing. So I was kind of vacillating, going back and forth a little bit. I was on my way to an event, to a performance in the afternoon, and again, we didn't have the options then. I was hungry. It was lunchtime. So it was either go to a convenience store and get some trail mix or go to Burger King and get their chicken sandwich. And I'm driving. I have to be able to eat it in the car, and I'm kind of going back and forth. Oh, what the heck? I'm going to get the chicken sandwich. What's it going to hurt? At that very moment that my mind went there, a car drove by. I'm getting chills telling the story again. A car drove by me with a bumper sticker that said, "Love animals, don't eat them." And this is exactly the way it went down. And I saw that bumper sticker, and that was it. It took me maybe another year or two to become completely vegan as I began to become more aware of the full story. But that was the end of my eating anything, any meat, certainly. That bumper sticker was put there by some higher power I don't believe in for me to see at that moment. So that's how. And then when Brie and I first got to, well, Brie, you tell the rest of the story because you do this part better than I do.
Oh, stop. But thank you. Well, I've been, prior to me converting, or I like to say upgrading to being vegan, I was vegetarian for years, let's say over 5 years, which was easy for me. I've always, had a soft spot in my heart for animals, and I figured, what's the big deal? I can stop. Ooh, sorry about that, thunder.
No worries.
I can stop eating chicken, or beef or sea life or something. And yes, I call it sea life, not seafood. No big deal. I knew being a vegetarian was easy, so that's what I did. And of course, I was still the only one in family and friends being vegetarian until I went to vegan meetups, which was great, and the camaraderie and everyone supporting each other and doing that. So obviously when I went to vegan meetups, I was eating vegan. I'm like, okay, this is a possibility. But like most vegetarians, it was easy for them to give up eggs and honey and obviously any type of meat or sea life. But my crutch was dairy. Why? Because I can go pick up a pizza after work and, enjoy it, and it'll last a few meals. It was just so easy to go to any restaurant out with non-vegetarian or non-vegan friends, go grab something with dairy. But in the back of my mind, it was still bothering me. So I felt that Neil and I met for obvious reasons, which was one of them, to finally upgrade me and to take the blinders off, as I like to call it. So Neil and I met about 2.5 years ago. We knew each other prior, but just as more of associates, seeing each other at other vegan events. But then when we finally made the connection and became friends at first, he was my support system. He can tell that I wanted to make that jump, but I just needed that positive reinforcement since I didn't have, much other close friends or, family members, that wanted to be a positive influence.
Yeah.
So he was just very, patient with me and say, and letting me know what's going on and explain to me about the dairy industry, which I knew, but I still had my blinders on. I wasn't ready, to make the jump. So he was definitely my biggest influence in becoming vegan, and it was actually easier than I thought. I can definitely tell you that. I was a big cheese fanatic. I was overweight when I was a vegetarian, and keep in mind, I'm only 5 feet tall, so any weight that goes on me, you're going to know versus, someone else who's another woman who's like 5'5" or even 5'10", you notice as me being a very petite person. So my BMI, was definitely in the higher range, being overweight. So when I gave up dairy, especially, and I focused a lot on the whole foods, and of course I can tell you I still eat processed food, just not as much. The weight just came off. Like I was even amazed on how easy it just came off, without having a strict exercise regime or doing anything out of the ordinary. So that right there is one reason alone, just to get rid of, a lot of processed food and cut out, all the animal products.
Yeah.
So when I first went vegan, luckily, Neil and I at that point started dating, and it was just more of a sigh of relief. just emotionally how everything became better, and you just become more compassionate. And I like to say you become more compassionate with a capital C, that you just understand what it means, how you can look at videos online through social media, or just look at, your friend's pet or something and just say, wow, I don't have to worry about inflicting any pain on you or any emotional pain on myself anymore. I understand who you are. I can just read through your eyes that you feel pain, especially no matter what type of animal. I mean, we're all the same. We all feel pain.
Yeah.
So that's basically my vegan journey. And as with most vegans, once you become vegan, you don't go back. It's a lifestyle change. It's not a diet change.
Yes. Yeah. I
Mhm.
completely agree that, and I can totally relate to I'm 5 feet tall myself. So,
Oh, okay.
So I totally hear you on that. Obviously, keep healthy and keep yourself, in shape. So that's truly amazing. Like, it's almost like you guys were meant to be.
Oh, yeah. He definitely came into my life, just to help me with that, and, worked out that, we've been dating ever since, and we're on the same wavelength, and we obviously have the same core values, which is very, very important for whatever, type of couple there is out there. You have to start with the same core values.
There's another part of this which I always thought was amazing. That is, from that first time we got together to the time you started proclaiming yourself as vegan, 10 days. I mean, only 10 days. 10 days later, she was posting vegan stuff on Facebook. So she was ready. She just didn't know she was ready. She thought she needed me to give her that last little push, but she was there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but it's still all because of you, Dave. Yes.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just a big love fest here. We're vegans. We love everyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
So, but that's awesome. So, but Neil, I want to hear about your basics. What? I know you're involved in a band. Are you the lead singer, or tell me a little bit about your music?
Well, I've been a performer since I was a little kid. I mean, like age 11 or so when I started music. I'm we'll say music director, because I don't like the term band leader, of a band here. We're in South Florida. We play South Florida events, private parties, and so forth. We're called the Horizons Band, and you can find us at newattitudeproductions.com. Okay, the plug is over.
We're gonna put the links and to your page, and we'll also include some of your songs, and we're gonna play some samples as well. So.
Okay. Well, the band plays covers, and we play popular music of all eras, all genres, all styles. We work with anything from one musician up to however many your party and budget will allow. Private parties, weddings, corporate events, stuff like that. I don't want this to turn into a commercial for that, because that's not why we're here. But the original music I do on my own. And songwriting's never been an easy thing for me. It's like I struggle over what word should I put in here next. But I've got a few advocacy songs that advocate that's the word, for animals or for being vegan and so forth. And I look for opportunities when I can perform those, because it helps to get the message out. It's my way of trying to promote this lifestyle.
Yes. And I believe you sent me 3 of them. We have 3 or 4 of them, I believe.
I send you and Jim also 3 songs.
Okay. Awesome. And they're really good. So.
Yes,
very
nice. He has a lot more songs. He has dozens of songs. And at the risk, of course, of sounding biased, it's just amazing, just to be at my house and, and listening to these songs and know not only, does he sing really well, but you can tell that he has passion, not only in what he writes, but just the way that he portrays himself when singing.
Yeah. There's passion behind the songs. You can tell the advocacy songs. That's what I enjoy about it. It's really nice. They're catchy, too. Very catchy. So.
Not by today's standards, but I know enough to do what I need to do, I suppose.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know it's during COVID, so we're kind of lockdown area. So, but what traditionally have you guys done? Have you done a lot of vegan outreach, or like I want to show people how to people who are not vegans and can find this lifestyle and can make it work and make it a positive change for their life. Your whole world has changed, both of you. So by finding this lifestyle, so trying to show what you guys have done, what you participated in, what we said the not companionship, but the family, the vegan family that you develop. So.
Well, if I may, the hardest thing, once you become aware, it still surprises me that not everybody gets it because it just seems so obvious that this is such an animal. People say they love animals. It's such a cliche. But you're eating them. You're supporting their abuse. You're supporting them being products. They're being created for various purposes and for us to use them. You don't love animals. Once you become aware and that becomes part of your consciousness, like it has with us and obviously with you, the hardest thing becomes realizing that everybody doesn't share that view and living in this world with the suffering.
Yes.
So we haven't done any major, I don't think we've done any major outreach, but I remember that first time we were at a club I was playing at, and some guy that Brie knew walked by, and suddenly I'm realizing, wow, she's quite a spokesperson.
Yes.
Because we got into this conversation, we call it a tag team, where she'll say something and then I'll say something, and it's kind of interesting. I wish we had more opportunities to do that, but as you said, Erin, COVID.
Yeah.
Where are we going? There's not even any parties or events going on now.
Yeah.
Because people are being careful. Most people, anyway.
Yes.
But along that, I work. So, and of course, I'm the only vegan at my job. And we kind of have an open lunchroom area where, anyone can just walk by, and say hi, blah, blah, blah. And it's not a secret that I'm vegan. And I'm out and I have whether I'm eating salad or with hummus or I'm having tofu and rice and vegetables, everyone will pass by. If I had a nickel this time, everyone would say, oh, you eat healthy. I go, yeah, and so can you.
Yeah.
I try to engage that conversation, especially tofu. I love tofu. Like if I have it every day, I have no problem with it. You're not going to grow extra body parts and stuff because that's just a fallacy between plant-based tofu, and then tofu that's made actually in a plant with processed soy. I should say the difference between plant-based soy, and processed soy.
Yeah.
So I just let people know, hey, if you ever want, easy healthy food ideas or this, or I like to say I'm on team tofu. You want to join Team Tofu, just to be silly, that, come on board. I'll be more than happy. I can give you links, about how animals suffer or about, easy homemade stuff you can bring, whether you want to make it straight for dinner or you want to make it and bring it to lunch the next day. I just try to encourage and with positive reinforcement, like Neil did with me, and like you discussed on your Facebook site group, which by the way I absolutely love, and I'm so happy, that we connected, Erin, and how your group is all inclusive, because you obviously want, everyone, no matter what type of lifestyle you have, to join your group. That it's easier than you think, and it will become second nature, and you don't have to be an elaborate cook. You don't have to have fancy equipment in your kitchen. It is possible to be a happy vegan no matter what you eat or drink, with just, let's say, a microwave. Or if you want to, change up the soap and shampoo that you use or the clothes that you use. It's all about research and asking, your vegan friends and just asking for advice, but also having them tell you in a positive light and not judge you. And that's another thing that I like about your page. It's a judgment-free zone.
Yes.
So we just want to encourage people to open up, also at their own pace, because we're not here to force anyone or be a militant vegan. Just come on by, ask us questions, don't be shy.
Yeah.
The other thing you left off of that thing is people often say, oh, but it's so expensive.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh, yes.
How much does a carrot cost you? I mean, if you eat nothing but processed vegan food, as we do sometimes, and we accept the fact that's going to cost more than putting it together from scratch, but it doesn't have to be expensive, and you can eat in harmony with your conscience. And we know everybody listening, we know you love animals. So you just have to bring that in line with your lifestyle. It's not difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the one thing I have to emphasize is you will not starve, because I love to eat, and I know Neil will admit that. Food is my best friend. So I will always be eating and snacking, and I'm not afraid, because I know as long as, besides, the little bit of processed food that I eat, I will always be having tons of fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lentil soup and stuff, just, justify what I'm eating in case I come home and want to have a few potato chips.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with my weight because I know I'm not gaining weight. So if I have a peanut butter smoothie there, or I have some nuts, or I have chips and hummus, I'm going to go home and make a meal with tons of broccoli, whether it's frozen broccoli or fresh broccoli, and I'm okay. So there's so much food out there, no matter what your budget is, you will not starve.
And to bring back to the point that you said, you don't need fancy equipment, cooking things, pots and pans, because you yourself don't own a stove, right? Is that correct?
I do have a stove.
Okay.
I can't tell you how well it works. No. I cook in the microwave or the toaster oven when I do want to cook something. Let's say frozen broccoli, I'll put it in the microwave, instead of steaming it. For the few times, let's say I'm in the mood for a faux chicken slider or something, I'll put it in the toaster oven or the toaster type thing. Okay. It's so easy, but I prefer to incorporate a lot of fresh vegetables and fruit, and I can make a potato in the microwave, or I can do frozen brown rice, or if we go pick up Chinese food, that'll last a few days, and let's say we pick up Chinese food with brown rice, tofu, and vegetables. I always augment with what I'm eating with fresh vegetables and canned beans, whether I really enjoy black beans, kidney beans, or chickpeas, or let's say on the side if I had a can of, low sodium lentil soup. And so I always augment with what I'm eating with a lot of produce, and always I love fresh fruit. So usually every meal I have to have some sort of fresh fruit, and it all depends on what's in season or what's on sale, would be depending on what I buy. But it's so easy for you to have tons of food without using any, like I said, fancy equipment. Just you have a microwave, you have a toaster oven, you have a blender, because I love making homemade smoothies, for instance, whether you want to use cocoa powder or you can use peanut butter, or you want to jazz it up and do instant coffee with it, obviously non-dairy milk and whatever fruits and vegetables. What's great about homemade smoothies is, let's say your broccoli, is on its way out, type thing, fresh broccoli or cauliflower or spinach, just put it in the blender. I mean, my nickname is Banana Brie because everything I eat, we'll get into that in a second, I always have to have bananas. So including my smoothies, and I'll add cauliflower and broccoli and spinach along with 2 or 3 bananas and oat milk, put it together. I can put peanut butter or instant coffee in it. And whatever I'm eating, especially hot food, I love putting bananas in it. I love hot banana slices because to me, whatever I'm eating, it makes it sweet. So the next time you have brown rice with tofu and veggies, just cut up a few banana slices and hopefully you will be happily surprised.
I will definitely try that.
Yeah.
I must admit, it sounds a little weird, but I'm going to give it a whirl.
Well, I've convinced Neil to try it a few times, and a few times he's liked it. It's not so much his thing as it is mine. But
Erin, don't say I didn't warn you.
Oh, stop.
And one thing I want to throw into that, what you were just describing about what you eat, this is coming from a woman who 2.5, 3 years ago, whole diet was, as she said earlier, pizza and takeout and whatever she could get at Subway or what's that other place? We won't mention that Mexican place, where it was just whatever she would get. I mean, and she's now turned into this.
Tons of dairy is what I lived on.
Yeah.
It's so easy to be vegetarian, but I used to be obsessed with dairy. And you take that out, and just for the health reasons alone, and the saturated fat that a lot of people don't even know about, and then, of course, the obvious reason, the animal suffering that a lot of people don't realize. I mean, even when you eat eggs, there's no such thing as, the backyard eggs or organic eggs. They're all killed the same.
Yeah.
So they're all treated like crap, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when you're going to wake up and realize that your cat or dog is the same as, a pig or a cow or a piece of salmon.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And have you noticed anything else? I know you said you lost weight and since cutting out the dairy. Have you noticed anything else? Has your skin been better? Have you noticed anything else health-wise?
I do have better skin. I'll admit I would still get a little bit of acne, but I know it's a lot less than what I was getting, especially with dairy.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I would say definitely the skin aspect. And it's also just the attitude of, okay, I know what I'm eating, whether I'm sitting, at the same table, of course, a few feet apart now with COVID. But
Yes.
if someone is, or heating up food in the office, I smell it and I cringe.
Oh, gosh.
So I just know mentally I feel so much better as well, and it just, puts a smile on my face. So
Yes.
besides the skin, it's just the mental feeling
Yeah.
that you're not hurting any animals unnecessarily as well. And you just feel, just overall energy, after having, let's say if someone goes to a fast food restaurant and then they have to go back to work, a lot of times they're like, oh, I'm in the mood for a nap, or oh, I just want to, sleep, take a 15-minute nap. And it's because
Yes.
of what you ate.
Yes.
When I just came back and had rice, tofu, vegetables, grapes, and watermelon, or
Yeah.
something with a side of hummus, or what,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't feel like crap.
I always call that a good flow feeling. You
Mhm.
feel flow, but it's a good flow.
Mhm.
It's not, you don't feel tired and it's like you need, like you said, you need to
Mhm.
take a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's very interesting. Very I'm just so happy to talk to you guys finally. It's been so long. If anyone of the listeners don't know out there, Brie is also a moderator on my group, and she's a major contributor to the. And she always has wonderful posts and things like that. And again, we share the same message of the education, compassion, and really truly just what you don't know if you don't know. We just
Mhm.
want, like I always say this, we are killing ourselves, we're killing these animals, we're killing the environment, our climate, and it's a vicious cycle. What are we doing? There's nothing really logical about it, so I just want people to think, and like you said, maybe a gentle nudge, maybe wake up a little bit,
Yeah. I mean,
it's not, I know not everyone is going to go vegan overnight, but
mhm.
we're at the point where there's things going on. All these storms, you're having a major storm right now. All these storms, these fires, these
Hurricanes and tornadoes.
yes,
And fire.
tornadoes. There's a lot of stuff. So it's just something to think about and really consider.
Yeah.
Let me jump in with one other thing that I think is kind of relevant. I've heard people, a lot of folks are in denial. We know that. They pretend. I've got one friend who I've known her my whole life. I've been trying to convince her to be vegan for as long as I've been vegan. And I'm using almond milk. I won't get into details about it, but people are going to be in denial in many cases. They're not going to hear what we have to say because they pretend they can't see it, so it's not there. I also hear people say, well, I was raised that way. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Because you're an adult. You make your own decisions. Being raised a certain way is not an excuse for continuing to live that way. My grandfather was a butcher.
Yeah.
From I think he was from Russia. So when he came over here, he continued the old country ways. When I was growing up, what we got to eat? It was all free. So we got cuts of meat. Yet I saw, the rest of my family never saw it, but I saw the stupidity in this. I don't want to eat animals. I don't want to support this. So whatever way you were brought up, you don't have to be that way. Do the right thing now. Now that you know better, you can make better decisions.
Yeah.
Exactly. And going along with that, what's great about Erin's page or any other vegan social media is if you're vegan curious at all, just you can reach out to one of us or anyone else. And, unlike, Erin and Jamie, which I commend you, for doing a 180,
Yeah.
and you were much faster, Neil, than I was, since I was vegetarian for a while. Whether you want to do it, step by step or do a 180 or anything in between, it's okay. You're able, to have that free support, whether it's through us or anyone else, just to check in and give you motivation, because at the end of the day, you want to just sleep happy knowing that you didn't help murder by proxy any animals. And if you don't want to be vegan for the animals as your first choice, that's okay. Do it for your health or do it for the climate. I mean, those are the other two reasons as well. Yeah. And as long as you research the right pages and the right pages, I mean, web pages that are not sponsored by the dairy industry or sponsored by the beef industry. PCRM, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine.
You beat me to it.
Oh, the PCRM is it .org? I think it's .org, correct? Is a great venue to learn about plant-based eating and whole food eating. So, just seeing if you guys are paying attention. No, so there are great sites out there. You have to make sure that they're sponsored by, acceptable venues. Like the PCRM is a great place.
That's physician.
And Dr. Michael Greger too. And just to go from there, or reach out to any other vegan sites and and ask someone questions, and just take it from there. Just say, hey, starting tomorrow for lunches, I'm going to do more whole food, plant based.
Yeah, it can be just it can start once a week. If you can just start to make that change slowly but surely, and you will see a difference in your health and how you feel.
Yeah.
And overall, you just
of course. And of course, I want to emphasize that we're not here to give medical advice. We're just here to be a support system for you, and you can obviously, just reach out to us and go from there.
One other thing, which I think you sort of touched on, when I started, again, I've been vegan about 30 years. That's a couple of days. When I started this,
just a minute.
Huh?
Just a minute, she said.
Oh, well, I thought that doesn't mean okay. You lost me there for a sec. When I started this, we had soy cheese that I used to get on pizzas. It was the worst thing you could ever eat. It would turn to plastic while you were eating it. The vegan options were virtually none. Now, oh my gosh, you can have exactly the same meal vegan that you would have had with meat in it. Exactly the same. You won't even know the difference.
So many, yeah.
It's really easy to do. All you have to do is have people say, is it difficult to be vegan? I say, not if you have the right motivation. It really is.
And the right support system, of course.
That helps too, yeah.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, do you want to ask any questions at all? We've been
I'm just listening. I'm saving my questions for the end.
Oh,
I'm scared now.
Oh, yeah. Don't scare my guests.
All right, Jamie, I got a question for you too. So you can be a little scared as well.
Okay.
That's one thing I was going to ask. Have you tried any vegan cheese? And I know that you love cheese, so that was your crutch. So have you tried any? I'm sure you have.
Yes.
What are some of your
I don't have believe it or not, a brand preference. And because I went vegan, I'm actually eating a lot less processed food. But every once in a while, if we'll get a frozen, Daya frozen pizza, or, tonight, because I'm at Neil's house, we're going to be having here. What kind of cheese did you have on it?
Well, Erin, is it okay to mention brands on here?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. My favorites turned out to be Firelife.
Oh, yeah.
But if you ask 20 vegans, you're going to get probably 18 different answers. Yeah. There's so many of them out there now.
Yeah, and it's just, like you said, it's just your preference of overall, whether you want the shreds or the slices or you want to do it with pizza. I mean, they're definitely great alternatives as far as that. And if cheese is your crutch, just open your eyes, take your blinders off, and you would be impressed with the cruelty-free types of cheeses and anything out there. Same thing with chicken or meatballs or, or eggs, with just eggs. With the Just Egg brand, that came out, whether you have the frozen type or the liquid type. So it's all out there.
Now, I also like to say it's not like we stopped liking the taste of meat or cheese. It's we stopped liking the cruelty, and so we still enjoy the taste. So we want to minus the cruelty and to get
exactly. That's all it is. We're not living on lettuce and carrots. I mean, just to say, at least I can say some vegans are not. While I admire, raw vegans, that were a lot, raw foodists, that's great. Yeah. But with our lifestyle, we still want to, enjoy the cruelty-free cheeses and the cruelty-free meats and whatnot. And it's all out there. All you're doing is minus the cruelty. You're not minusing the taste at all.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So. Jimmy, I really don't have any more questions. So if you want to ask away, like I don't want to break them and ask them the favorite cheese slices. You know.
Well, I got a question, and this is for all of you, including you, Erin. You guys are all in the dating stage, right? What do you do? Like, I'm not a vegan, and when my wife and I were dating, we'd go out to dinner and a movie, or we'd go to we grew up in New York, so you had the Italian feast, you had this, that, and the other thing. What do you guys do on a typical date? On a date night?
When was the last time we could do that? It was pre-COVID. Oh my God!
All right, so a year ago, 2 years ago, what did you do?
Well, Neil knows the way to my heart is through my stomach. So I love food. So we would, just pick a vegan restaurant, and we have some good friends, that own a vegan restaurant here as well. And what's great is they have a variety of food. So if you want Italian food, they will go and you can get eggplant parm, which is my favorite there. And that's, a great Italian dish, as you said. And you would have no clue that everything on it, including the cheese, is obviously cruelty-free. Yeah. So we would just, go to a restaurant, or we would go to a picnic, or we would go to some sort of, just vegan event and meet other vegans, or meet, vegan curious crowd, which is great. We weren't so much into going out to movies, but just hanging out, or even going food shopping together and telling each other, hey, let's try this, or let's try this. We weren't into anything, extravagant.
One of our goals, again, pre-COVID, we're in South Florida, and I remember when South Florida had one vegan restaurant, and I remember before that when we had zero. They're everywhere. You can easily go to a restaurant. We don't do it now because we're still being cautious and not eating indoors.
Right.
But you could go, there's restaurants all over South Florida, vegan. That's what you just described, Jimmy, is not even an issue. Going out and having a feast and then doing whatever, walking around someplace, or going someplace, or going to hear music. We've gone to hear lots of live music.
The live music, especially, I enjoyed, when you would be playing at a public venue.
Well, that's my favorite live music, too. But anyway. So when you talk about dating, it's not even an issue.
No, that's what I was curious, because, like, here, now I live in upstate New York, and I'm in Dutchess County. I can not find one vegan restaurant. I have yet to see one. And
where is that? Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I've yet to see one. I've never seen an advertisement for one. I've never seen an advertisement for any kind of vegan festival or anything like that. And especially now, since I've been, with Erin here, and we've been working on the podcast, I've become more aware. So I've been looking.
Good.
What'd you say?
No, I said good.
That'll maybe lead to my question, but we're not done with this one yet.
But no, I've been looking.
Where are you in relation to?
Go ahead.
There's a where's Farm Sanctuary? I know it's upstate New York.
Say it
Anybody
again?
know offhand?
Todd's. That's up in Parkland. That's
no. It's I went to Farm Sanctuary to visit, and it is upstate New York. I forget the city. I couldn't remember the city. In the city, so there's a university there. I know that someone's going to be listening to this and say it's whatever, you idiot.
Yeah.
But when I was there, and this is many years ago, there were already vegan options on menus. I remember seeing an ice cream shop that on the sign said vegan ice cream, and this is well before all the options we have now. So I'm disappointed to hear that you can't find anything where you are, Jimmy.
Well,
Jimmy, have you heard of the website called happycow.net?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Happy Cow.
Jimmy, are you writing this down?
I've never.
If you write it down, or anyone else, happycow.net, you can search through your zip code or city for vegan-friendly places. So it's not necessarily purely vegan, in case there aren't in your area. It would also give you vegan-friendly restaurants that would have vegan options that you would hopefully be happily surprised with.
I wrote it down. I'm going to put that in the show notes as well.
Yes.
Yeah, happycow.net.
And you'll find something. Again, as Brie said, it's not, when you're searching, you have the option to search for all vegan or vegan-friendly or vegetarian. So you might find something that's maybe close to what you're looking for. And I'm impressed, and I find it positive, Jim, that you're actually looking for these things. Because I was curious it's wonderful you're offering this opportunity for Erin and for us to share this information. But I'm wondering how it's affecting you, because you're hearing all this, and yet when you do the promos, you still make a point to say, well, I'm not vegan, or you say I'm not a vegan, but this is a good thing to do. So I'm wondering if you're beginning to open your eyes a little bit, or how we're coming along and influencing you.
Well, it does. Put it this way, I'm pretty set in my ways, to be honest.
That goes to what I said earlier about well, it was brought up that way. I was set in my ways.
It's not a
sorry,
matter.
I don't mean to turn this into an argument.
No. It's not. I won't argue with anybody, because I'm pretty tolerant of everybody's ways, and it's not a matter of, I'm not somebody that sits down and says, well, I gotta have a hamburger, or I gotta do this. There's times where my meal might be oatmeal. It might, I'm not really focused that much on food. I have some health issues that don't allow me to finagle as much anymore. Maybe at one time, I used to be a McDonald's freak. I used to love McDonald's, but I don't go to a McDonald's for anything anymore. Not that I don't like them, but I just can't. My system won't handle it. But that's why I always say, before anyone makes any kind of lifestyle changes, they should always check with their doctor.
Correct.
You shouldn't just do this, especially in our community. Our community, we're a disabled community. That's where 99% of our listeners are, in the disabled community. So I always tell people, check with your doctor. But I respect what Erin and you guys are doing. I'm not saying I don't. I may come off like a jerk in your eyes sometimes, because I'm playing devil's advocate here.
You're the antagonist to my sweet angelic self.
Yeah, well, let's lose that angelic part, but I like to give both sides of the story. I like to get both sides of the story out there. Now, one thing I found, and I'm finding it more and more, the vegans, people that are hardcore vegans, are probably the most least tolerant people in the world.
Yes, I because
there's absolutely zero tolerance for other people's beliefs. They're just like hammering it home. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. That's why I dislike PETA with a passion. I dislike them because PETA would never get me to change my mind about anything. I could be saying that a nickel is a penny, and they could be telling me, no, I'm wrong, and I'll never change my mind, because PETA doesn't talk to you. PETA screams at you.
I would agree with that.
And you're not going to change anybody's mind by screaming at anybody.
As far as the lack of tolerance, I just want to say I get that, but when it comes to animal abuse, animal exploitation, there's no room for tolerance there. You wouldn't say the same thing, I hope I can express this well, if it came to having tolerance for some other kind of harmful activity, child abuse, for instance. Some people will find that, oh, that's a terrible analogy, but it really isn't.
It isn't.
You wouldn't allow a certain amount of child abusers, but they're getting better. They're doing it less now. No, there's no room for tolerance when it comes for exploitation and abuse and harm.
And
so that's maybe why it comes across that way.
This is why, for that reason, what you just brought up, for that reason, I'm a little bit, I don't know how to explain it. I'm a little bit shocked that so much is going into protecting animals, and I understand. I'm an animal lover myself. I just spent 2 days in a veterinarian's office with my dog.
Yeah.
I'm an animal lover myself, but so much effort is going in right now to protect animals, which I agree they have to be protected. But yet, I've been doing a poll for the last 3 weeks about abortion.
Don't bring up your poll, Jimmy.
No, I'm not pointing this at any one individual, but I've been bringing up a poll about abortion. No names, no nothing. I just wanted to know yes or no about abortion. And overwhelmingly, people are in favor of abortion. So
no, we're not in favor of abortion.
Yes,
we are in favor of the choice.
Why are we talking about this?
No.
We're hoping not to get into this subject.
No, we're not.
Because it is a personal thing.
We're not getting into the subject. I'm just saying you brought up child abuse. It's this, to me. It's a similar thing, and that's why I didn't want to get into that subject. But
Where we just want to focus on, Jimmy, is child abuse for a human to us is just as bad as any type of abuse for any other animal. That's it, period.
well,
Everyone feels pain, whatever your species is.
I understand
Still
that,
feeling
and
pain.
I agree with you. I'm not.
You had Todd on a couple of weeks ago, and he's devoted his life to rescuing pigs. These animals are spending, the ones at the farm, they're spending their lives in cages so small they can't turn around. When you see the cruelty that goes into the production of what most of the American and the planet's population is eating, when you become aware of that, you become sensitive to it, you want to do what you can to at least not be part of it and to try to make a change.
Exactly. And Jimmy, you were focused on the militant vegans and PETA. Well, between the three of us, and especially, Erin's on your podcast every week, along with, other, I'm sure you've met other vegans, especially through social media. Why not reach out to the vegans who are friendly and who want to give you a support system? So it's just something to think about on the flip side.
I'll put it this way, Brie. I'm not arguing with anybody. I'm listening, and I'm taking pieces of it. There's people that have been on here that I wouldn't give them the right time of day. I'll be honest with you. But there's people on here that I've become very friendly with outside of the podcast. And I don't look at somebody and say, you're a vegan, so I can't associate with you. Erin is like a close friend now.
Good.
As far
you
as
guys connected.
Yes. I don't care what she eats. That's like saying homosexual. I don't care who you sleep with. That's none of my business. Honestly, that's none of my business. And what you eat is none of my business. That's why I was saying I find that with some, not all, but with some vegans, there is zero tolerance. And, there just has to be some tolerance somewhere. But anyway, I really don't want to argue with anybody. But it's already out of the bag, so... But I do have one other question. One other question has nothing to do with this. Growing up, naturally, you guys weren't vegan or vegetarians. How did your families handle it when you decided to change? Was there, like, growing up, if you grew up in an Italian household, I'm sure mothers and fathers would be very upset. No?
It's more of because I did it, a few years ago, and, obviously I don't rely, on my family, let alone, my parents to buy food. It was more, it's your decision as long as, you keep up being healthy and, and it's yours. It's not something that they would necessarily endorse, but, they're letting me live my own life. And of course, with family, they say, okay, make sure you get enough protein. We all heard that.
Yeah, right. The protein story, the protein myth.
And, as long as you're staying healthy,
Protein's right up there.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say protein's right up there with the island. But go ahead.
No, I was just because all they got to do is look at you, what you looked like 3 or 4 years ago, and what you look like now, and they're going to question whether you're being healthy. I mean, it's obvious.
No, I'm just saying. Parents sometimes they're stuck in their ways, and when a child turns around and says, "Well, I'm not doing what you told me to do for so many years," they like I know my parents.
But they also bring you up, to think for yourself, and that's
and that's a good thing.
And that's what I've done, and I don't knock them, for their lifestyle, of course not, but I just emphasize, this is my lifestyle,
right?
And we all have to get along.
All right, and go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to interject. There was really no feedback. I had a conversation with my dad. I remember driving him to the hospital. He was about 68, 66. So anyway, I don't remember why I was driving to the hospital, but I was already vegan, and I'd seen the way he ate. I remember this is the son of a butcher.
Right.
So he was eating absolute garbage. And I was trying to persuade him to change his diet, if only for his health. And he said, well, I'm 68 years old. What have I got, maybe 10 more years left? That's exactly what he said to me. No, he had 2 years left because he was gone by 70 and a half. He was gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
What you eat matters. I have a brother who is very healthy. He's also a musician, appears very healthy. But when I just talked to him about, well, let's all get together at a vegan restaurant with he and his wife, Brie and I, he's like, he won't even consider it. It's amazing. It's just food. He won't, well, I don't like that kind of stuff. I'm set in my ways. I'm a picky eater.
Yeah.
There are people like that who just, it's just food. Do you eat apples? Do you eat a carrot?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So my family is not an issue. I don't, there is no, who else is there? Well, I have one more family member who I don't communicate with very much. So what your question, Jimmy, was not really an issue for me.
Well, the one thing I will say, and this is closed-minded on the other side, people hear vegan, and they automatically think of the old Charles Manson movies where people are dancing around in rags, and, you know, they're out in the desert, you know, wandering nomads. That's what they think about when they hear the word vegan. You know,
really?
Seriously.
I didn't think it was that way so much anymore. But maybe you're
believe me, it is. Well, and again, I tried to make it clear on another podcast that vegans are the same as everybody else. They go to work.
Yeah,
they wear a
people. Yep.
Yeah, they wear a shirt and tie. They wear nice clothes. They go to work. They carry their lunch in a bag like everybody else. They do their work. They go to lunch. They come back. They go home. They eat dinner. They sit down. They watch TV. Fall asleep in front of the TV. Get up in the morning and do it all over again.
Oh, you've been watching me.
And that's what I was saying. People have like the strangest ideas. Just like, and I'm sorry, some vegans have the ideas that all non-vegans drive a pickup truck, get out of the truck, have an axe over their shoulder, blood-stained T-shirt, grab an animal, chop the head off, skin it, and eat it. Mm-hmm. You know, those are preconceived notions that people have about each other, and it's so stupid.
It's being perpetuated by the media also. I happen to be watching a TV show, medical show, and there was a girl on there who was suffering from something with an emergency room scene, and the parents were talking to the doctors, and the doctors say, well, she's vegan, she never liked meat. And the doctors say, oh, well, that explains the anemia.
Right.
Yeah.
The media is still promoting the idea that this is a non-healthy way of existing when it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Well, you know, the truth of the matter is, and Erin and I discussed this a couple of weeks back, the vegan diet, you do need supplements on certain things that you're not going to get from a plant-based diet.
I would say that's probably untrue, and I'll just give you my experience with the old B12 issue.
Mm-hmm.
We keep hearing that vegans need a supplement with B12. I seldom take a B12 supplement. Every time I'm tested, I'm over the B12 limit. So,
and that's good.
Maybe
I'm glad for you.
I'm just saying it's not necessarily true.
Well, it's not.
B12.
It's not necessarily false either.
Well, I will admit that because I hear it so often. But it's never been true for me. So it's not necessarily true. I mean, it is true just in general that the soil today is not what it was 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's depleted. We may have to supplement just in general, not simply because you're eating plant-based.
Yeah.
So by eating plant-based, you're also not getting the cholesterol and the other garbage that's in meat.
Well, one thing I found out while doing some research, too, which I'm very shocked at, and I was saying it to Erin, was about heart disease and strokes. The vegan diet is great, but lowering the chance of a heart attack. But it does increase the chance for a stroke. And I don't know how that can be, being that I've had both. But I don't know how that can be because I've always heard heart attack and stroke go hand in hand. Usually the risk factor is for both. You know, the risk factor is equal for both.
I think we'd have to look that up a little bit more and get some other...
Well,
because that was only one study you found, so...
Oh, no, it was a couple.
I've seen some other studies.
It was a couple that I had read that day, and it was just briefly before we were going on, and we were just talking about it, if you remember. And I was shocked at that. I don't know how that's even possible, like I said, but...
Yeah, because also I always read that it lowers when you, like you said, your heart risk of your stroke risk lowers. So
yeah,
yeah. I just want to emphasize that while it could lower your chances for a lot of diseases, especially terminal diseases, becoming vegan is not a cure-all. And,
No.
you know, and we're not here to give medical advice either.
Yeah.
It just helps minimize your chances, you know,
Yeah.
I've known.
stuff like that.
I'm sorry. I've known sick vegans. I am not without medical issues myself. Most people have something going on. You're not going to get rid of all. I hope you do. Maybe you'll get lucky that way. But
Yeah.
I never say that being vegan is going to be as Brie said, a cure-all for your health conditions. But all things being equal, you got a better shot.
Yeah.
Well, no matter what, if you eat healthy, you got a better shot at anything. to be
Well,
honest.
see, it depends on what your definition of healthy is
Yeah.
Well,
as well. So,
in my case,
And the one thing you,
go ahead.
sorry,
No, go ahead.
who's on first? One thing that was said earlier about because your podcast is listened to mostly by people with disability issues. See your doctor before you do anything.
Yeah.
One thing to keep in mind: doctors know zero about nutrition. They really know nothing. Well, I think I found one doctor who, I mean, they don't study it. It's not part of the, in America anyway, they don't study nutrition. So yeah, I believe you have to take anything your doctor tells you. Yes, don't not listen to it. It's important. But you have to consider the whole picture.
Yes. And do your own research.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
from reputable online
Yeah.
sources.
Well, I would suggest you go see a nutritionalist. Actually, you know.
Yeah, if you can find a plant-based nutritionalist, you know, in your area, that of course, you know, would be better for you.
I've seen a nutritionist at one point who comes to mind, who she knew my what was important to me. I went to her as a vegan. She knew I was vegan. We talked about it. Then on a follow-up call, well, would you consider adding some dairy to your diet? No. So she didn't know anything about this. So yes, you have to find someone who understands what's important to you, who can guide you in the right direction.
Now,
Well, this has been fun.
I have just one more question. Just one more question, and again,
You saved it to the end. Now
I
I'm afraid.
saved it to the end. No, this is just something else, and this is just an observation on my part. Every vegan I've met so far, every person that follows the vegan lifestyle. Now, one person in particular I know that follows the vegan lifestyle grew up in a home that was Catholic. You know, they had a Catholic upbringing. They went to a Catholic grammar school. I don't know if they went to a Catholic high school or not. But now they're agnostic. They don't believe it, or atheist actually. They don't believe in anything. And so far, every other vegan that I've met seems to believe the same thing. That there is no such thing as God or whatever. No religion. They're against religion. Is that something that comes along with the vegan lifestyle, or is that am I just meeting people that have that personal belief?
May I?
Yep.
Yes.
Can I
Please.
grab this one?
Please. I'm
Because maybe if you didn't, I was going to. So.
what?
It's not necessarily going along with it. What these people might be experiencing is the fact that they're thinking for themselves, and they're making just as they thought for themselves. They're not following the standard American diet. They're not following the standard orientation toward believing in a higher power, and they've thought it through and have come up with their own way of belief or not belief, however you might want to describe it. It's not necessarily they go hand in hand. I've known vegans who have been very much believers, and I've known vegans who have not been.
It's,
Just like you'll find that, as you said earlier, you'll find that in the general community too. There are plenty of non-vegan non-believers.
I believe that because, like I said, everyone I've met so far, and this is just, and believe me, I don't have a big circle of vegan friends. It's just in the last 8 weeks that Erin and I have been doing this, I just happened to notice it, and I'm not calling anyone out on it or anything like that. It's just that I just happened to notice it, and I noticed quite a bit. And it doesn't matter to me whether you believe or don't believe. It's just that I know when I came across one person that I know, which I was surprised that he went vegan, but that I knew growing up, he went to Catholic grammar school, and I don't know if he went to Catholic high school, but I know he went to church every weekend because we were in the same grade, and we had to go to church every weekend. And he's no longer. And now my brother, he's not a vegan, but he also is the same thing. Like you said, he's non-vegan, but he just totally gave up on religion as well. I was just curious if it was something that went hand in hand with the vegan lifestyle. If not that it's a rule that you have to stop being religious.
Yeah, I'm not.
I just.
I'm not seeing what you're questioning. Only my perspective again is just people are thinking for themselves and making their own decisions.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely make a valid point that it's personal preference. Just like no matter if you're vegan or non-vegan, what your political stance is, besides being religious stance, what's your abortion stance, what's your, stance on anything else.
No, like I said, I was just curious.
We're all individuals.
If that was something that came into play somehow, somewhere, some way, that I thought maybe...
No guidebook, there's no rule book.
No, I didn't.
Right.
Yeah, no secret book to me.
No.
And this topic is a whole other subject for a whole other podcast. It's not about veganism.
No, well, I just thought maybe people
I understand where you're coming from.
lost faith because of what's going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe they...
It could be related in some people's decisions to follow or not follow, or believe and not believe. But it's not like necessarily, as you were, I believe you were asking, it's not necessarily goes hand in hand with it.
Okay, that's all. I was just curious. I'm just trying to find out as much as I can find out. I'm learning.
I see that, and that's good.
Anyway, I want to thank you guys both for being on, and now that I know you both want to punch me in the face, that's.
Where is that, Jimmy? I want to get to that guy.
But Neil, I do want to say we talked the other night, and at the end of this podcast, we're going to play the song All Together Now.
Thank you.
We're going to play that.
Yes, it's a great song.
I love that song now. That's stuck in my
Sorry, go
head.
ahead.
That's stuck in my
Good.
head.
That's the idea. I wrote that back in the 90s. I had a chance to perform it at an animal rights march on Washington because I knew somebody who knew somebody that got me in there to perform it. It was meant to be a kind of a rallying cry, an anthem, as it were, for the animal rights movement. It just never took off. Nobody really paid much attention to it. So I appreciate the opportunity for you to be playing it, for some more people to be hearing it.
Oh no, I'm telling you right now, I could be singing it right now because I probably played it 10 times since I spoke to you.
Thank you, Jim.
It's just stuck in my head, and I'm sure other people are going to like that. But we're also going to take the other songs that you sent, and you said you have more. You have more that you can send me?
I have a couple other original advocacy songs, a couple of covers of advocacy songs. I'm not going to send you my whole repertoire because a lot of it has nothing to do with this.
No, the covers.
I'll send you some more.
The covers I can't do because of licensing.
Yeah, you need permission.
Yeah,
I get
right.
that.
Yeah.
But your originals, I can take, and at the end of the vegan podcast, I can play them in their entirety. Like I'm gonna.
I'd be grateful. There's one or two. One comes to mind that you're definitely not going to want to because it's kind of long and rambly. But you'll make your own decision based on what works for you, and I appreciate that you're doing this. Thank you.
Well, send me the long one too. And
I'll send you my original advocacy music. Yes.
Yeah. And like
Please
I said, the end of this podcast today, you'll have the All Together Now, and we'll play them at the end of the vegan podcast ones, and I'll take out the Come Back to an Apple a Day music that I usually play at the end, and we'll put that in instead. And I'm going to put your contact information on the show notes on the podcast, and you'll get the attributions in there also for being the writer. Now you did. I'm going to stay just a couple of more seconds here. You did tell me that you played all the instruments on these.
Yeah,
songs?
on the original music. Yeah, it's not uncommon these days for one person to do everything. Yeah, it's done by using electronics and overdubbing. I mean, overdubbing is not a new concept.
No, I realize that, but they're excellent. That's the only.
Thank you.
That's the only thing I can say. I'm surprised you aren't on the radio.
I'm a late bloomer.
Yeah. But no, the music is excellent. The song itself is so catchy that I'm telling you, don't be surprised. You're going somewhere. I don't know where you're going, but you're going somewhere.
Right now, I think I'm going to the kitchen to get dinner.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're coming out of the bathroom now? Good.
I've been out because the storm stopped. I went to the bathroom to get away from the thunder,
Don't lie.
but I've been out of the bathroom now for a while.
Don't lie. So, Neil?
This has really been fun. You guys, thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you, and it's just been so much fun.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
definitely.
much.
Thank you, Erin and Jimmy, for giving us the forum. You
Well-
know, and just having, as we say, just regular people, you know, like Neil and I, to, you know, hopefully just open people's eyes.
Well, thank you so much
You're
for
so
being
welcome.
here. This has been a blast. This.
Well, I hope so, Jimmy, and please feel free to keep in touch. And Erin, I know we'll definitely keep in touch.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
And just and thank you, and anyone who hasn't joined Erin's page, you know, or you know, not a big fan of Jimmy's podcast yet, you know, please, you know,
Well, you got
just please become regulars.
Oh, they get. Well, Erin's up to. What are you up to, Erin? 1,000 people, or almost?
Almost 1,000. I'm a little shy. The goal is 1,000 by the end of the year. So
Well,
Well,
hopefully
we got,
before the end of the year, 'cause it's
Yeah.
September. Yeah.
All you got to do is you got to go to famousapple.com/that vegan disabled gal, and it'll bring you right to Erin's page. And
Yeah,
join.
and don't be shy if you want to, you know, join, whether you're a quiet member or an active member to post, just shout out. You can always private message, you know, one of the admins or moderators if you have questions, because what's great about our page is it's all inclusive, so it doesn't matter your background. Just, you know, come and join us and say hi.
Well,
if you're disabled, if you're vegan, not vegan,
Mhm.
curious, you know, it's a place for everyone to be.
Mm-hmm.
we
It's a safe space. Mm-hmm.
we want everyone that's listening today to join and go in
Mhm.
and ask, what is banana brie? Just
There you go.
Maybe it's the title of my next song. I'm not sure.
Oh, I hope so. That would be great. Yeah.
Ooh. We got a good one there.
Yes, and I challenge everyone this week to add some banana slices to a hot meal of yours, and let me know what you think. And yes, you can heat it up with your hot meal too, as well.
good. Hot sliced bananas. Yum.
Yes.
Bree's giving cooking advice. I'm scared.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All
I'm
right,
gonna,
guys. Thank you so much.
Say goodnight. Jimmy, thank you so much. Erin, it's been a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we appreciate you guys having us on.
Thank you.
And
We
Bree, I'll see
appreciate
you
you
in a
being
minute.
here.
Okay.
All right.
I'm hanging up now.
All
Good
right.
luck.
Take care, guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I'd like to thank our guests today, Banana Brie Best and music man Neil Kaplan. And you guys are welcome back anytime. You guys are phenomenal. A lot of fun. And thanks for putting up with me. And I want to thank you guys, the audience. Without you, there's no podcast. And I want to thank Neil for letting us use his music to close out the podcast today and for the next few weeks. So you won't be hearing my regular Apple a Day closeout at the end of the Vegan Possibilities podcast. Neil's been so gracious to let us use his music. Today we're gonna close out with The Right to Be. Listen to this song. This song, if it doesn't choke you up a little bit, I think there might be something wrong with you. But listen to the words to this music, and I want to let you know, not only did Neil sing this song, he played every instrument on this song. So this man's a wealth of talent when it comes to music. And I don't know what else to say about him. He's very talented. But I want to remind you guys of one thing. Things can always be worse. No matter what, there's somebody somewhere wishing that they were in your position right now. So things can always be worse, my friends. Remember that. Whenever you think things are at their worst, it can always be worse. Hey, you've been listening to An Apple a Day, the Vegan Possibilities episode with your host, Erin Fernandez. Now, I want to remind you, you can catch up with Erin and Brie Best at Erin's page at famousapple.com/that vegan disabled gal. And while you're tripping around the web, you can join our group, Living with a Disability, at famousapple.com www.famousapples.com/group. And remember, this podcast is brought to you by www.famousapple.com. That's the home site for this podcast, so you get a minute, go over there, check it out. Hey, listen, you don't have to go anywhere else on the web. We got you covered right here. Anything you got to do on the web, you can do right here at Famous Apple. So, have a good day. We'll talk to you again next week. And you've been listening to The Vegan Possibility on An Apple a Day. My name is Jimmy Apple. And stay right here and listen to The Right to Be by Neil Kaplan.
To walk in open space, to feel the sun upon their face, the right to stay and the right to roam, to have a life, to have a home, the right to venture from the nest, to spread their wings and fly. I guess I often think it's so unfair that every creature everywhere doesn't have the right to be. The right to be, not just for those like you and me. The right to be, the right to be, all should have the right to be. Spend your lifetime in a cage. The right to live through joy and pain, to get it wrong and try again. The right to laugh and the right to cry. Must you even ask me why I often think it's so unfair that every creature everywhere doesn't have the right to be. The right to be, the right to be, not just for those like you and me. The right to be, the right to be, all should have the right to be. And what gives us the right to decide who will live and who will die? The right to watch their children play, to find some truth along the way. The right to be for everyone, living life and having fun. I often think it's so unfair that every creature everywhere doesn't have the right to be. The right to be, the right to be, not just for those like you and me. The right to be, the right to be, all should have the right to be, the right to be, not just for those like you and me. And in your heart I know you see all